Good morning. My name is Christopher Matza. I am an LSUS student in MBA 715 for spring semester 2025. And today I will be showing you how to use Tableau to do audit data analysis. So the first thing I'm going to do is share my screen and open the Tableau app. Now we're going to do this based on a fictitious company called the Roger Company. And the first thing I need to do is import their information into the Tableau app. So am I going to click over here on Microsoft Excel? That's going to lead me to the file for shipping. And this will open up all the information for the specific company. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually click on sheet 1. So now I have the breakdown area. So to get the information that we're looking for, the first thing I'm going to do is go over into this table area, and I'm going to take invoice total, and I'm going to click it, and I'm going to drag it over to the rows line. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is drag the invoice date over to the columns line. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to click the sign next to year in the column section, and I'm going to go over quarter. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is remove year and quarter from this area. So that I just have the month. Now that I have the month, it's only going to display total sales by month for the sample period, as you can see from the breakdown here. Now I'm going to drag invoice date over to the filters area. I'm going to double click on years, check 2021, which is the year I'm looking for, and press OK. Now it kind of spreads it out a little bit more so it's easier to see. So now I'm going to rename this specific tab to 2021 revenue trend. Now, as you can see, it did change the name up here, so now everybody can see what I'm calling. Now I'm going to save this folder. I'm going to call this my name. Tableau project. 3.5 video version. Okay, now that I've done that, it asks me a question. It says, what 3 months had the highest sales in 2021? Now, if you look at this graph, the biggest months are actually over here. The highest one over here looks like November, 258,000 change, September, 227,000, and then October, 223,000. Now we look here, there was a big month in March, but it's a little bit less. So it asked for those 3 months, and I gave those. Now we're going to have to make some adjustments to certain variables between the dimensions. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on customer number, and we're going to press convert to dimension. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing for invoice number, convert to dimension. Now it's saying what other number has been imported as a measure instead of a dimension. Now, if we look at the options given to us, it looks like the other one was order number. So I'm going to do the same thing and change order number to dimension. So now that I've done that, as a risk assessment procedure, we're going to see who the customers has the largest total sales volume. So I'm going to create a new tab here. I'm going to drag and drop customer number to the columns line. I'm going to then drag and drop invoice total to the rows line. You'll have to excuse my cough. I've been fighting about a week. I'm putting this off. So now Tableau automatically defaults to a bar chart. So I am going to click on Show Me, and I am going to go to this area for packed bubbles. Now that it's in this little packed bubbles section, it's very obvious which is the biggest bubble. This 100 at 140 is not only the biggest, it is the biggest by a wide margin. So now that I've done that, I'm going to save a specific worksheet as total. So next, I am going to try to look for the average sales volume instead of the total sales. So I'm going to right click on this tab and I'm going to hit duplicate. Now the duplicate one I'm going to rename as average sales by. Now I'm going to click on the drop down arrow next to sum invoice total in the marks frame. I'm going to click measure and I'm going to change it to average. Now that I've done that, the bubbles charts really doesn't do as good of a job of illustrating which one has the highest sales volume. So I'm going to go back to show me section, space for a minute, and I'm going to change it to circle views. Now that we have circle views, I can look at which one is at the very top. So the customer number that had the highest average invoice amount was customer number 100,208, which had an average invoice total of 14,000. So now that we finished part one, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at sales forecast versus actual. So we're going to use the Tableau forecast function to forecast sales for the fourth quarter of 2021, and then compare forecasted sales to the actual values as a final review analytical. So to do that, we're going to open another tab, and we're going to call it quarter four. Now that we're in there, we are going to right-click on invoice date and convert it to a continuous value. Now we're going to add invoice total to the rows line and invoice date to the columns. Now we're going to expand the invoice date till sales are shown by month, which we just did there. Now we're going to add invoice date from dimensions to the filter pane. Now, once we do that, we are going to select range of dates and set the data filter from the beginning until September 30th, 2021. So I'm changing the dates over, and now we're at September 30th, 2021, and I hit OK. That narrows it down a little bit. So add the forecast, we need to click on the Analytics tab, which is over here next to the Data tab. Under Model, we are going to drag and drop Forecast on the line chart. We're right up. Now you see it kind of expands in, it kind of gives an area where there wasn't any before. So I'm going to left click here on the flat forecast line and press Edit to change the forecast options. Now we only want to see the 2021 quarter four forecast, so we're going to change it to exactly 3 months. And it shows here. We are going to ignore the last 0 months. We're going to change the forecast model to custom, have the trend be additive, and everything looks like it's good just like that. So we hit OK. And now this provides a forecast. So we're looking at the individual months, October, November, December. And if I see October, it says the estimate is 128,030. I then go to November, it says 143,413. I go to December, it says 158,000. Now, those are only the estimates. If we want to obtain actual values, we need to create another tab. Name it quarter four actual. Rename quarter four actual. Add invoice total to the rows line. Add invoice date to the columns. Expanding until months are shown. Just like we did before. Now, what are the actual sales for those months? One. Sorry, I had a little bit of a coughing fit there. To continue on, the questions then asked, what are the actual sales for October, November, and December 20? So let's move me out of the way as much as we can. So the number in October was 223,082. The number in November was 250,881. The number in December, okay, actually turned out a little bit differently. That's because I did not do this part correctly. Just get rid of this. We get different numbers this time. And my apologies, I put the wrong filters in. So the numbers for October are 223,082. One. Damn it. this before. My apologies. I had misread that a little bit, so I had to didn't say in the instructions to work on the filter, but I just did that. So now it's asking the question, what are the actual sales for October 2021? The answer is 223,082. For November 2021, 258,881, and for December, 77,687. So, even when you're learning Tableau and you've ran through it 5 times and you think you got it all down, sometimes you make a mistake. Well, that's why they made erasers. So, if you focus on this last part, that's how we got to work. So, the last thing we're going to do is create a dashboard in Tableau. So, we're going to click not new tab, but this area here says new dashboard. Click new dashboard, open new dashboard tab. We're going to drag and drop each of the sheets into the field. So, let us do total sales by customer first, because here, let's these in here. Total sales by average. We got forecast. We're going to move these stuff out of the way here. Because I'd rather have the quarter actual and quarter forecast here. So let's move this one out. So let's see if we can move this one down. I also need the average sales by customer and total sales by customer. So here, the average sales by customer here. I got a quarter four forecast and a quarter four actual. So now that we've done that, we're going to answer the following questions to do the actual analysis of the company. So it says, what month significantly underperformed expectations? Now, if you look at the actuals for October 2021, it was 128,030. Whereas the actual sales was 223,082 when the forecasted sales were 128,030. That's a huge difference. Forecasted sales for November were even worse. It was 274,000 of actual sales, 143,000 of forecasted sales. Now, December was a different. December, they forecasted sales that were going to be higher, 158,000. They ended up being less than half of that at 77,687. Now, that leads to the inherent weakness of this forecast, which is that it seems to be it's based on a broad generalization of an entire year or an entire quarter, without knowing in previous years, 1 year, 5 years, were October and November always the best months? Was December always a slow month? It seems that they just wanted to take a somewhat even average of those areas when they might have known from previous experience that they still were going to have high sales. Because if you add those three numbers together, they actually did better actual sales over those 3 months forecasted. but it's how it was distributed in the months. So I guess that leads to the inherent weakness where your forecast and your actual for the entire quarter you get there. Month to month, it's not going to tell you. And depending on the company, you might need more labor in the months that you know you're going to have more sales. So it sounds like they're busier in October and November and not busy at all in December, Christmas, people taking time off, holiday stuff like that. So last question is what audit evidence will an auditor need to obtain during the audit to feel comfortable with revenue during quarter four? Now, the easiest thing is to just say you have forecast and actual. So where did they get the numbers for the actual sales? Do you have the actual sales records? All of the transactions that led to sales, incoming money. Same time, now we're focusing on the revenue trend. Excuse me, revenue's up, but at the same time, is that based on what kind of bills are we getting? Are we paying extra bills in October than we are in December? Are we spending less in labor costs? Do we the supplies that we need to make the product? Do we buy those as we go, so we're not really keeping a lot on hand at one time? So those are questions that that an auditor would need evidence of to really be comfortable with this analysis. So in the end, I appreciate you sitting here listening to me talk about how to do a data analysis with Tableau, and I wish everybody a good